2 microphones,
2 Amandas,
and some seriously entertaining tales. I'm Amanda Wedekamp.
and I'm Amanda Stanzione.
We know stories connect us all.
And we realized we have a mountain of stories to share. So buckle up,
And brace yourself for a wild ride.
because we've got a lot to say and probably too much to share. Amanda, I'm going to bring up 2 things to you.
Oh no. Am I in trouble?
No, you are not in
good.
trouble. These 2 things recently happened. Small things. Number 1, garbage at the house.
Yes.
When we take out our trash, normally either Chris or I will take the trash bag and we'll just put it out the back, like right outside the door. And then later, Chris will pick it up. He'll take it around the house to the bins, etc. Okay, the other night, I'm sitting on the couch and he's in our bedroom. I hear like this weird noise, and I'm thinking, what is going on? And so I kind of get off the couch and I creep over to the window, and I see this raccoon dragging our trash across the deck.
No!
And I freak out. Now, I am a strong, capable woman.
Yes.
So what did I do? Ran to get my husband.
Yes.
I could have knocked on the window. I could have run out the back door, scram, and it would have run off, obviously. But instead of that, I run to the bedroom and said, babe, come on, you gotta come outside, the raccoon. He jumps up like something major's happening, and he runs out the door, and the trash is no longer there. So it had the raccoon had dragged it all the way off the deck. And in the time that I went to get him and we went back to the deck, the trash was not there.
Oh, no.
So I'm thinking, this raccoon is run off.
Yes.
So Chris is running off the deck around the side of the house trying to find, where's our trash bag? And anyway, it had fallen right off the deck. So
Okay.
it was, so I yell at him, come back, the trash is back
Yes.
here. Obviously, we had scared off the raccoon at this
Okay,
point.
good.
But the moral of the story is don't leave the trash on the back porch for even an hour, because this was like 9:00 at night and the outdoor lights were on.
Oh
so
my
it wasn't
gosh.
like it was dark out
Right.
there, which is why I was able to see plain as day that a raccoon is dragging an entire bag of garbage.
Oh my goodness.
So
good to know.
Right.
Yes.
What did I think he was going to really do?
I
That
don't know.
couldn't do.
Right.
Like the raccoon's going to be afraid of him, but not me.
Right.
Number 2. Are you familiar with the Fire Festival?
Oh, FYRE?
Yes.
Yes. Only I think I saw one documentary.
Yes, good. Okay, I'm glad you saw that documentary. We are among the idiots who did buy tickets to go to the original Fire Festival.
You bought tickets for
Yes.
this? Oh my goodness.
Chris and I bought tickets for this. This was 2017. We have some friends, couple friends, that had reached out to us. She sent me a link to the video. The video was amazing. It was like the Great Exuma, in the Bahamas. And they had models and music and a yacht. And it looked incredible. Now, tickets ranged from $3,000 a person to, you could do $1 million. You could get a
my
big
gosh.
yacht. It was insane.
Yes.
We knew that this was crazy, but we thought this is going to be a trip of a lifetime.
Once in a lifetime.
And we were like, oh, this is incredible.
And
We're gonna
wasn't this really pushed heavily by influencers?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was. Kendall Jenner,
Yes.
and there were a few models,
Right.
and there were videos of them on the yachts. So it was big influencer push.
Right.
So I was like, this is going to be the trip of a lifetime. They were doing it 2 weekends in a row. We had purchased tickets for the second weekend.
Okay.
So when the first weekend happened, I'm on Twitter watching the whole time thinking, okay, I got to see how great this is.
Right.
What are people saying about it? I'm following the hashtags. And then it slowly comes in pictures of the FEMA tent lookalikes.
Right.
And then there is a famous picture of a cheese sandwich on the styrofoam lunch thing. It was, and then you've got everybody screaming, complaining. They're at the airport.
Right.
Needless to say, we did not go because they canceled it.
Right.
So great news is though, American Express refunded all the money.
Good.
We were not out a single dollar, so that was great. But it made me think of it because Billy McFarland has now gotten out of prison because he went to prison.
Right.
Because of all of the, like, I don't know, not money laundering, but like he had taken...
yes. What would you call that? Like scam?
Yeah, right. He had taken the money and then not paid the artists and the people and blah, blah, blah. But it made me think of it because I saw something yesterday that Billy McFarland has gotten out of prison and he is planning Fire Festival 2. I'm not kidding.
No.
How narcissistic and delusional do you have to be to get out of prison and for the reason that you're there say, you know what? We're going to do it again.
Right.
I will not be purchasing tickets for Firefest 2.
Neither will I. Do you think there will be many that purchase?
I asked Chris the same thing. I said, are people just going to be stupid or are they just going to be hopeful and think, wow, there's no way.
He learned his lesson.
Right. And I'm sure he has a better way of organizing this. I mean, he couldn't fail at this twice. And I'm in for a second documentary of what a disaster this is going to be.
Yes. I am titling this Buff the Stuff and Ribbed Sweaters.
I can't wait. That sounds, I have no idea what's coming.
I went to college to become a teacher.
Go Hoosiers.
Go Hoosiers. That's right, girl. Indiana University. And if you knew me at the time, you would probably be surprised that I wasn't going to be an elementary school teacher.
Okay.
I loved little kids. I had babysat since the age of 12. I actually even babysat in college for different families.
Okay. So you
in
loved
Bloomington, Indiana.
Okay.
I loved that age group. I also really enjoyed crafting. So elementary school teacher would have been a perfect fit for me.
Did you ever want to be an elementary school teacher?
I did, but then I found out that I would have to take finite mathematics in college.
Oh,
and that changed my whole trajectory.
Wow.
Yes. Our high school had offered AP credits, and I had already completed a calculus credit, a full class of calculus, 5 credits, and the grade would transfer. I got an A in that class.
Oh, that's exceptional.
And I thought, if I never have to take another math class, that sounds appealing to me.
Yeah, of course.
So I decided I'll just be a secondary education teacher.
Loving that. Right. I can't believe math is what made you change the course of your future career.
Yeah, totally changed the whole trajectory. Looking back now, I do think that's sort of silly that I completely gave up on an elementary, school career, being an elementary school teacher. But it all worked out in the end, so you never know.
Just because of math.
Right, just because of math. Never let something like that hold you back, but I certainly did.
Lesson to the wise.
I am now in my last year of college. You student teach. And I believe this is still what college students are doing today.
Probably.
Right? Yeah. In Indiana University, if you were a student teacher and you were from out of state. So if you were from a neighboring state, you were allowed to student teach in Bloomington.
Okay.
If you were from the state of Indiana, you had to go back to your hometown and find a placement somewhere near your hometown. And I think the belief was there weren't that many placements in Bloomington, and they wanted to save those for the out-of-state students because you're getting an Indiana teaching license.
That makes sense.
You're not getting an Ohio teaching license or Michigan, so you have to student teach in the state of Indiana.
How far away did you live from the university?
I lived about an hour and a half away.
Okay, so you had to student teach an hour and a half away while still going to school.
I actually moved home. Because student teaching is only that. You're not taking additional classes.
Okay, so you moved home.
Yes, I moved home. There was really no way I could have done that kind of a commute.
Right, yeah.
What was so nice about moving home, I'm with my parents. My mom's doing everything for me.
Oh, that is great.
She's cooking. She's doing my laundry. I remember there was a huge time commitment to student teaching, especially because you want to do it well.
Right.
This is going to determine a potential job placement.
Right.
Having my mom really support me, I remember thinking, gosh, I don't know that I could have done this without
What a blessing to have her around.
Yes.
That's great.
It was amazing. At the time, I was also engaged to be married.
Were you really?
Yes.
You and Jim were already together?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
We met my freshman year of college, started dating my sophomore year of college. and then got engaged my senior year of college. I was 21 when I got engaged.
When you got engaged. How much older is Jim than
Just
you?
6 months.
Oh, okay. All right.
So we're very close in age, and he's a year ahead in school.
So then where did he live? You lived an hour and a half away from the university.
He was working because he had graduated already.
Right.
So he was in North Carolina working.
Okay. Long distance engagement.
Yes. I'm student teaching. They didn't allow you to student teach at your home high school, which I understand, right?
I do
There's
get
going to
that.
be a bias potentially. So I'm student teaching at a neighboring high school. It was an absolutely wonderful experience. I really enjoyed student teaching. However, the commitment was extraordinary. I was a social studies high school teacher. My degree would allow me to teach middle school and high school social studies.
Okay.
I had a concentration of U.S. history, so that was my main focus, but I could sprinkle in other social studies modalities.
Okay.
The supervising teacher that I was working under, she was a single woman in her 40s. So she had quite a different perspective than probably most of the teachers I had known.
Okay.
Most of the teachers I knew were parents. They were in their, mid to late 40s, but they were married. They had children.
Right.
I'll never forget, this supervising teacher told me, a good teacher arrives before the sun rises and leaves after the sun sets.
At school?
Yes.
Meaning you need to be at the school way before the students get there and not go home until way after they've gone home.
Right.
What does she think you're going to do?
Exactly. And I thought, okay, this doesn't seem like a life that I'm going to want, because I would also like to be married, enjoy my husband, and enjoy any potential kids I may have someday.
A family.
Right.
That would scare me off.
That really did solidify a lot in my head. I finished student teaching in May. I have my college graduation. However, it was in Bloomington, and I didn't want to go because it just seemed like a big hubbub for something that I didn't think was that important.
Really? You didn't want to go?
I did not want to go. Well, and my parents were disappointed that I didn't want to go, so they made me put on a cap and gown and take pictures. Yes.
You know what? I can appreciate that. It's like, well, if you're not going to go, then I'm still getting something out of this.
And I think, so I graduated in May, and then I got married in May.
Oh, in that same month?
In the same
month. Not like a year later, May.
In the same month.
Oh, wow.
So I think part of my hesitation to go is I was like, I'm ready to move on. Yes.
Right.
I am getting married.
Right. I mean, I'm about to be a wife. I don't need to go to this college graduation.
Exactly. Graduate, get married. I am now moving to North Carolina.
That's right. That's right. Yep.
Jim is in North Carolina. I'm moving there. I need a teaching certificate for North Carolina. Okay. I find out in order to get my teaching certificate for North Carolina, I have to take one other test, standardized test. I'm at the point where I have to decide, am I going to do this? Am I going to teach?
Right.
In the meantime, I had worked for Manpower. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
A temporary agency.
Yes.
I had worked for them all through college. I thought, why don't I get a job with Manpower while I figure out whether or not I'm going to be a teacher?
Okay, all right. You're thinking of options.
Right. Manpower hires me. I'm at a mortgage company. I fit in really well. It's going well. I enjoy it. They offer me a full-time position.
So you're having to decide, do I want to be this professional career woman, or do I want to take a test to then get a teaching certificate for North Carolina?
And then find a job.
Yes. Okay. Great point.
So I think I'm going to go for teaching.
I know. Okay. I thought the story was going, well, I decided to take the job.
No.
Okay. Yeah. Teaching it is.
I went for teaching.
Okay.
I took that test, and at this point, it is the fall, and class has already started. I look around to neighboring high schools and put my application in. I get an interview at one in Raleigh.
Okay.
And go to the interview. They tell me, you are hired. The position I was taking was a teacher who was promoting to be an administrator.
Oh, okay.
So she had a little bit of flexibility with her schedule. She was also the department head of the social studies department.
This is great.
Right. I'm not going to be the department head
right,
of the social studies department.
Right.
However, because she was the department head, she had an incredible schedule.
And so I'm assuming she's not the same teacher that told you that a good teacher arrives before the sun comes up and leaves after the sun goes down.
Right. She was not of that philosophy.
Okay, good.
On my first day, I'm trying to get to know the students, right? They're all introducing themselves. And I have one student say, "My name is Greg, but you can call me Buff the Stuff." And when he says it, he flexes his right arm and his left arm.
Did you bust out laughing?
The whole class was dying laughing. And I always called him Greg. I would never call him Buff the Stuff. But this is a joke that Jim and I still tell to each other.
I was about to say, if he only knew that right now we're talking about Buff the Stuff.
This teacher's schedule that I was now taking over, she had first period prep, which means no students.
Oh, great.
In your first period, which is really nice.
Yeah.
She also had 4 of the same class, and that class was economic, legal, and political systems.
Wow.
Yes.
Did you feel like you knew the material?
No.
You were
Not at all.
You needed some prep to teach this.
I really enjoy social studies in general.
Okay.
Now, the economic part was probably the most challenging, but loved legal, loved political.
Interesting.
And I believe it was economic, legal, and political systems of the U.S., not just North Carolina. However, this was a required class for every student in North Carolina to pass.
Wow. Okay. So you being able to deliver this material well was really important.
It was very important.
Okay.
I also had one section of advanced U.S. history or honors U.S. history students.
Oh, that would be daunting for me.
And I loved it.
Oh, great.
Yes.
See?
And they were juniors at the time. The economic, legal, and political systems class, you could have any age because if you failed that class as a freshman,
you got to take it
you're
again.
back in as a sophomore.
Oh, wow. So you probably, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
I had one student who was 19 years old.
Oh.
And I'm 22.
Yeah. And what is that student doing at 19 still?
Because this class, economic, legal, and political systems, was a required class for North Carolina, he had not yet passed it.
Oh, that is what I was just about to say earlier, was I guess it would be better to try to take this as a freshman or sophomore because, like you said, if you fail, you've got to take this. You've got to pass this.
You have to pass. His name was Jared, and he and I had a great working relationship, and I really did want him to do well, but there were definitely times where I thought, okay, he is 19, I am 22.
Right.
Like right now, he's 47. I'm 50. I mean, this is mind-blowing to me.
Right. And you taught him in high school.
And I'll never forget, one day, it's the end of the day, the students have all gone home, I am figuring things out, packing up, I start to leave my classroom, I step out, and I turn to the right, and he's standing right there, scares me half to death.
Yes, for
sure. I said, "Are you here to jump me, Jared?" Oh. And he's like, "Miss Weddicamp, I would never jump you," and it was so funny. We had such a good laugh about it.
Scared, but he's like, "No, of course not."
I always remember that because it just
you were
scared me. Right, because again, he's a 19-year-old man.
Yes.
I am a 22-year-old, not a large woman.
I was about to say, he was probably taller than you, for sure.
Yeah. I remember, because I'm 22, the students all were trying to figure out my age because they knew I was a recent graduate of college. They also knew I was married.
Right. I was going to say that throws them off a little bit.
And I kept telling them, you have no idea what I did after high school. Maybe I spent a couple years traveling the world. I
love that you're trying to throw them off.
Yep. Maybe I worked for a year and then went to college. I never revealed how old I was. No.
It's like they were on a mission to find out. And you never said.
I never told them.
I
do think being a Mrs. helped. In addition to being from Indiana, I also came from a very small town, and I soon taught in a smaller setting.
Right.
This is more of an urban setting in North
Raleigh.
Carolina. It's Raleigh. We had a full-time police officer and a full-time security guard.
Oh, okay. Very different than when you student taught.
Yes.
Okay.
I had never had a police officer in my school ever.
Yeah.
So that was very different for me. Plus, we are in the South. And I am still getting used to, honestly, the accent.
True. See, I'm from the South. And so for me, it's just, second nature. But yeah, I can imagine you were a little bit of fish out of water.
Definitely a fish out of water. I'll never forget one afternoon after school, I'm at Walmart shopping and I hear my friend Amy, who's the teacher who teaches right next to me.
Okay.
We had adjoining doors and she was such a great resource for me because I was new and I had started after the school year had started.
Right.
And I turn around and I'm like, Amy! It wasn't Amy. It was just some other person with a North Carolina accent.
Because you're thinking, if you hear the accent, you're like, that must be Amy.
I was like, this is definitely my friend Amy. Nope, just someone with a Southern accent. Mm-hmm. Looking professional and dressing like a teacher was really important to me. And I remember buying clothes just for school. I wanted to look super professional. I had this brand new sweater and I absolutely loved it.
Cardigan?
It was not a cardigan.
Okay.
It was Carolina blue and white striped.
Fabulous.
And I didn't even know the term Carolina blue until I moved there.
Right.
That was something the students, sometimes I would do fun projects with them and I would have colored paper. And I'll never forget one of the students like, Carolina blue, please. And of course I thought they were referencing the college, UNC.
Right.
But I also have a friend who said, oh, we had Carolina blue skies today.
And then you realized,
I was like, so I don't know which it's actually referencing. Right. But, so this sweater was Carolina blue and white striped, ribbed, and I felt so cute and professional in it. And this U.S. history, and the honors U.S. history class comes in. One of the students sits down and goes, I'm liking that shirt, Miss Wedekamp.
Just out of nowhere?
Yes. And that was a male student.
Ooh,
The ribbed shirt was a little tight because, ribbed kind of can cling to your
clings,
body.
Right.
And I thought, I am never wearing this shirt again.
You wanted to be super professional.
Right.
You go and get this very professional ribbed sweater with the Carolina blue and white stripe. And it really, what a bold statement, though, to just yell out in front of a class.
I'm liking that shirt, Miss Wedekamp. And I just was like, I just wanted to crawl into a hole and die. Because
what did you say?
I was just like, oh, thank you. And I'm like, never wearing this again. In addition to the students trying to get to guess my age, we also connected on things that maybe looking back, you're like, well, this is why they thought you were their age. Because 90210, Beverly Hills 90210.
Oh, don't even get me started on 90210.
Yes, one of my favorite TV shows.
Same.
It was typically on Wednesday nights, and so Thursdays would come.
Everyone's talking about it.
I mean, I'm talking about it with the students, right?
And they're thinking you're the coolest
and
person
like,
ever.
Oh, we just love Mrs. Wedekamp.
I love that.
So that was really fun for me.
Yeah.
On the team for social studies, there were several teachers, maybe 6. We had a small staff lounge next to my room. And during passing period, I'm always out watching the students
in the hallway,
right, making sure there's no issues. And one of the teachers across from me, he taught, I think, economics. And I remember every passing period, he would go and get a fresh cup of coffee.
Interesting.
He drank
drinking it all day.
1 cup of coffee every period, all day long.
Did he always seem like real jacked up?
No, he seemed very mellow. And I didn't drink coffee at the time.
Which is wild to think if he's so mellow drinking coffee all day. Take that coffee away and he's
And I just
burning.
remember him being so into the coffee. Like, I felt like he was like, this is the only way I can get through this class,
You know, that might have been true.
Yeah. One of the pictures I will share on social, Jim and I chaperoned one of the dances.
Oh, that's excellent.
Isn't that fun?
It's great.
It wasn't prom because it was in February, so it was probably something like a sweetheart dance.
Right.
So I never did write a book or write down all of my memories from my first year of teaching, but I do have some things in my scrapbook. And then, of course, I have this and the memories that have stuck in my head, like Buff the Stuff and ribbed sweaters.
I love that so much. And I'm so glad that you had so much fun teaching.
It was a great time.